Hey guys, this is Dimensions and Transcendence Tier 16, which is the last and final stage in the Transcendence series of Dimensions N. Instead of the usual left and right gates and the center reckoning stage, the final stage is just one singular fight, and it can be rather tricky if you go in blind and you're not aware of the mechanics. What I have here is a ticket mission run, and Setzer doesn't have a BT, though I do have Setzer's FR. I went in with tickets, spent about 270 tickets to get Setzer's FR, and it does make this fight a bit easier. I'm very sure you can also do this with a Setzer LD only, but it will be a considerably longer fight without his FR. Briefly describing the start of battle, you want a starting turn order of 3-2-1, which is Setzer followed by Quina followed by Aranea, and then it is important that Setzer is in party slot number 3 because he is the one holding the Lunafreya LD call. For this battle as well, I have every single passive equipped, and this is actually important. Do not remove any speed passives from anyone, or you may screw up the turn order when you are setting up for the stage, and the turn order is pretty key to make the run as easy as possible. For this stage, I also have the black and blue crystal U2 passives equipped. The blue crystal U2 is more optional. The only thing it saves is one turn, but otherwise Aranea doesn't really need it. However, the black crystal U2 passive is pretty useful. If you don't have the black crystal U2 passive, just do without Setzer's free stroker at the start, and do without Quina's LD at the start. Here I had Quina use both the Rain's Call, that is really just to charge up the summon meter, but the Rain's Call also helps to pull Aranea's turn. The idea is that I will be using Setzer's FR as main, and I pull Aranea's turn back one more time just to allow her some room to complete her setup and use her BT plus before Setzer uses his FR. It's important here to use EX because EX gives her the aerial maneuvers buff, and that is the buff that gives her the ability to take a consecutive turn, and then you can end Aranea's turn with BT plus, therefore finishing her setup. Now that setup is complete, have Setzer use the Lunafreya LD call. Here I use EX. If you have Setzer's BT plus, I would recommend to use BT plus instead of EX right here. From here, use all of Setzer's FR and Quina's FR. There is really no need to save their FRs for later, and the ideal outcome you want is to enter wave 2 with 10 turns of force time remaining, which sounds pretty challenging, but if everyone has echoes, it is actually not very difficult. I pop Bahamut Summon here really only just to save on the turn count. You don't really need to pop Bahamut Summon, and instead, if you really worry about your damage, you can save Summon mode for the right tail end of the fight. Here Aranea gets her turn and don't really have a choice, I have to use echoes to keep the force time at 10 turns. I was actually considering using something like maybe a priest call on Aranea to end wave 1, but that would mean you start wave 2 with 9 turns of force time remaining. This also means that I never really used the call ability on Aranea. She really doesn't need any call ability, none of the other call abilities will really make much of a difference because Quina's BT aura is in play. Now coming to wave 2, the important thing is that you want Aranea to start last. Doesn't matter whether Quina or Setzer starts first or second, as long as Aranea starts last among the 3 party members, then you're good to go. Luckily I didn't even have to soft reset. The very first try I already have the turn order that I want. Because you ended wave 1 inside summon mode, you will begin wave 2 still inside summon mode. Now why do you want Aranea to start last? This is sort of like an insurance policy, and I'll explain a bit more later in the fight, but what you want is to have Quina use LD to land his trap and Setzer use Freeze Joker to land the freeze debuff on the boss before Aranea enters BT mode. This is also why it's important to start wave 2 with 10 turns of force remaining, so that as you can see Aranea gets her turn with 8 turns of force time remaining, which is really ideal. Before going into BT mode, don't forget Aranea still has 1 more echoes, so use that right here to further build the force gauge bonus and whittle down the boss's health a little bit more. Before I enter into BT mode, one quick mention that there is a little bit of extra leeway here, which makes me believe that even if you don't have a 5/5 ultimate weapon on Aranea, you can probably make do with something like a 4 or maybe even a 3/5 ultimate weapon, because you have the insurance policy of Quina and Setzer's debuff, and I'll explain a little bit more near the tail end of the BT mode. Alright, I am now in Arena's BT mode and I'm at 755% force gauge bonus. Aranea does so much damage that she can bring the boss through all 4 phases and kill off the boss by the end of the BT mode. Quick explanation about the color auras as I'm whittling down the boss. The boss on wave 2 only has 90 million HP, which is why you see the percentage health drop really very quickly. However, the boss has so-called 4 phases or 4 lives, and each life is represented by a different color aura. Right at the start of phase 2, the boss will have a white color aura, and when you bring the boss to 1% health, the boss will switch to the blue color aura and heal 90% of its life. And then if you bring the boss down to 1% again, it will switch to the orange color aura and heal 80% of its life. And finally, once you bring the boss health to 1% and once more, it will go to its 4th aura, which is the red one, and heal 70% of its health. But once there, you are free to kill off the boss. The boss has to transition into the different auras. It cannot die until it goes through all 4 colors. So in total, the boss actually has 340% health out of 90 million HP, which is, if my math is correct, 306 million HP pool total. The good thing is that it can transition phases even if you're inside BT or summon mode, which means that if your BT mode is strong enough, you can just bring the boss through all 4 phases and kill it off before it does anything, which is the case here. Normally also, as the boss changes color aura, each color aura represents different effects in the field. You can ignore all of it with Quina and Setzer, so you don't even have to worry about the auras in play. However, take note that the boss normally does a triggered attack when it changes color aura. It didn't happen here because I'm in BT mode. However, what this means is that the moment you exit your BT mode, the boss will trigger all of its attacks at once. However, the triggered attacks from changing colors is just a brave attack, so it's pretty harmless. Plus on top of this is why I used Setzer's Freeze Joker and Quina's Trap at the start of Wave 2. This is where the insurance policy comes in. If you couldn't finish the boss inside Arena's BT mode like I did here, don't worry about it because you will exit BT mode with 1 turn of force remaining. What will happen is the boss will warp its turn to the front because it was delayed in Arena's BT mode. That means that the boss will trigger Quina's trap at 999% and take a crap ton of damage. It wouldn't be able to hurt you because of Setzer's freeze, and Aranea gets 1 turn after that to do a full attack at 999% force gauge bonus. So you essentially have 1 extra turn of force to deal and finish off the boss. That's it, thanks for watching.